Hello everyone, this is a detailed introduction video about fyler.nvim. So what is fyler.nvim? Fyler.nvim is a neovim file manager which can edit your file system like a buffer. Similar to oil.nvim, maybe you already know about oil.nvim or maybe not. But to clear things out in simple terms, oil.nvim or fyler.nvim based on a concept called buffer file editing, which means your file system will be shown you as a buffer, like a normal buffer that you can edit. And by doing that, and when you save the changes to the buffer, those changes will automatically reflect onto your file system directly. So you can do some crazy things with this approach, like you can add or delete multiple files, or you can do multiple file operation at the same times. Basically, there are four basic operations that you do on file systems. First one is the create operation. Create means you create a directory of a file, or maybe both at the same time. Delete is um, self-explanatory. You can delete a directory, file, and both as well. Also, there are similar operations like move operation, also known as rename operation, which you can transfer one file system item to the other location, which also includes the renaming of the file, because you are shifting from one file location to the other file location. So we call this operation move operation, right? And the last operation is the copy operation, which is also an handy operation when you try to copy one file system item to the other file system item. We will talk about these things in detail, but let's see. If you are convinced to use a buffer related file system explorer, then let's see how to install this thing. So as a quick notice, this plugin is still not in its mature state. I mean, there are a lot of lack of features, or there are some bugs going around and here and there in this plugin, because this plugin is kind of new and the approach is also kind of new. Basically, this file explorer works on the same principle as oil.nvim, but it also provides the preview, and this also solves the wait just a minute. I think let me open the image in the new tab. um Wait just a minute. Open image in new tab. Let's go over there. Something's fishy. um Let me just zoom it. Okay, so you can see here, this is a beautiful tree-like view. You can see this is a very common view which you see in many file manager like in VS Code, or maybe in neovim file manager like neotree or nvim tree. There are plenty of file manager which provide you this kind of view. But the interesting thing about this, you can edit this buffer like oil.nvim or like a normal buffer, and you can perform your operation like oil.nvim. So this is crazy, because oil.nvim, this is where both of these plugins are different from each other. So the basic difference between a fyler.nvim and the oil.nvim is just this tree view. Oil.nvim provides you a single directory view. On the other hand, fyler.nvim provides you a full tree structured view, which most of the people are familiar about. And it is much easier to navigate with this view instead of single directory level view. Right, so let's go to the installation part, how you can install this plugin. So I'm going to show you how to do that with lazy.nvim. And if you are using a different file, plugin manager, it's completely okay. You can just copy the URL and add those dependencies, and you'll be able to use that plugin according to your plugin manager. I'm going to cover the lazy.nvim because it's by far the most popular plugin manager out there. So there are two versions of this fyler.nvim. First one is the stable version, and the second one is the main version or latest version. So what is the difference between these two versions? Stable versions only updates when a new release comes out. That means this version is always contain the most stable version of the code base. That means there will be less and less amount of bugs in the stable version. On the other hand, the latest version contains the latest snapshot of the code base, which means if we add something new and haven't tested it, or maybe it's kind of an experimental feature, then you cannot use those feature in the stable version, but those features are available in the latest version. So choice is yours. Every version have its trade-off. So let me show you the latest version. By the way, you should use the stable version, but both configuration are there. You can just use the stable branch to use the most stable and reliable code base snapshot, right? So I'm going to use the what to say latest version, right? So I have already I'm a plugin developer, so you can see I have already set up this plugin according to my development setup, but I'm gonna comment this thing out. This is kind of a boilerplate code in every lazy plugin manager configuration, right? So I'm gonna export instead of exporting one, let me just copy this thing. Instead of stable version, let me just copy this latest version, and let me just put everything here. So you can see if I open the lazy, maybe somewhere here, yeah, you can see we have not installed the fyler.nvim. So let's synchronize the changes, and lazy will sync all the packages accordingly. So let's see, and you can see the fyler.nvim is installed perfectly. All right. So how we can open the plugin? So there are some using commands. I mean, you can how you can use Filer to open, or maybe how you can interact with the plugin. There are two ways to interact with the plugin. Either you can use the command, or you can use a Lua API, right? So let me show you first with the commands. So there is a user command which is called Filer. Let me just make the text a little bigger. Okay, so this is the Filer command, right? If I press just enter for that, you can see the Filer window open, but you can see anything. There's nothing to show here because this directory is empty. Let me show you. So if I do ls-la, there's nothing in this directory, right? So if I make one like touch foobar.txt and open Filer again, you can see there is a file like oil.nvim. And if I delete foobar.txt and open Filer again, you can see there is nothing. Okay, let's keep things aside, and let's make some progress inside, like let's do some operations. By the way, there's one more thing. You can see there are two optional arguments you can pass to the command, which is the kind and the directory option. So let's just use first the dir option, in which I can specify the path that I want to open with the filer. So I'm gonna pass the home directory, right? And if I press enter, you can see the home directory is now open in this plugin. If I go to the top by GG, you can see this is the content in my home directory. You can see the top level directory is my username directory, and the rest of the things are, some general stuff, nothing complicated. So also, I forgot one thing, like this plugin supports both the most popular icon library like mini-nvim and the nvim web dev icons. So you can just change the icon provider. I mean, you have to add the library to the dependency, and you can change that thing in the options. So instead of mini icons, it will use nvim web dev icons if you want to use it, right? All right, then what's the next thing? We have the kind. This is one of the coolest part of this plugin. I mean, you can open this plugin in about 10 different window kinds. Like, so the default one is the replace window kind. Replace window kind means it can it will hijack the current buffer and make it the filer buffer for temporary purposes only. So if I press fyler, it by default uses the replace window kind. So let me just quit that, and if I open and pass the kind, and if I just press tab, you can see there are some auto completion going on with different window kinds. So let's just use this interesting one, the float window kind. So if I press enter, you can see there is a floating window, and fyler open the current directory in the floating window, and you can see the path of this current directory that we open in the fyler. By the way, you can press Q to close it. Also, you can look at the key binding section to get more clear contrast on different key bindings and actions. We will go through those things, but let me show you other things as well. So there is one most popular window kind that you might all know, like there is a kind equals this split leftmost. So this is the most popular window kind that everyone use with a file manager. So if I press enter, you can see there is a left side view of a file manager. So this is kind of cool, right? So you can use fyler.nvim in 10 different split layout, 10 different window kinds. It's all up to you what do you want and what your preference. So same things with the Lua API. I'm not gonna go with the depth because they are almost the same things. Instead of commands, we are just using the Lua code to open these things, right? That's another topic. So next thing, let's go for the options. Okay, by the way, before moving on to the options, let's do some file system operations first. So let me open the filer in a float window kind, right? Here you go. And let me just make a file. That's the first thing you want to do. Let's name this init.lua, or maybe, okay, let's just name it init.lua, and let me just save that by :w, and when I press enter, you can see there is a pop-up which asks you to create init.lua in the current folder. If you press Y, it confirms the operation, or you can press no. So let me press no or N to no, and you can see nothing happens. And if I save again, you can see the pop-ups again asked me to create this init.lua file. So if I press Y this time, you can see this file is created. And let me show you, if I do ls-la, indeed init.lua, it's here. Okay, let's do some crazy operations as well. Filer kind float. So here it is. So what's the next thing? Let's create some directory, right? Let's create let's call this empty dir, right? By the way, if you want to create a directory, you have to end the name with a forward slash, right? Otherwise, it will treat it as a file instead of directory. So let's create dir, and I mean, instead of just creating a directory, we can also add some file in it like foobar.txt. And yeah, so you can see here we have two lines. One is an empty directory which doesn't contain any file, and this is a directory called dir with a file inside it called a foobar.txt. So if I save this thing, you can see it prompts me for the following operation. One is to create a empty dir, and other one is a dir with foobar.txt in it. If I press Y to enter, and you can see the operations seamlessly perform everything, and you have your structure here. By the way, you can do one crazy thing is, if I press DD to get this line or delete this line and paste here, so you can see this file is no longer in the context of dir, it's in the context of empty dir directory, because it have some indents, and this is how filer works. So if a file have some indentation, then it will assume the closest directory to its parents, right? It assume the closest directory its parents. So if I save this, you can see here is a move operation which tells you that a dir foo_bar_txt going to a empty dir, right? So we are moving foo_bar_txt from dir to empty dir. So if I press Y, it transfers the file. You can see there is no file in dir, but we have an foo_bar_txt in empty dir. There is a last operation, which is the copy operation. So if you just press YY and press P to copy and paste, and CIW to change in word, basic neovim motion, and let's say let's make it copied, right? So you can see there is a copy operation, and we are copying from init.lua to copy.lua, right? Let's press Y, and you can see we have a copy of init.lua. So this is how filer works. It works on the indentation levels, similar to Python. Like if you indent some code in the context of other statement, then the indented code will act as a child to the less indentation code above it. So this is how filer works. Hope you everyone knows, everyone understands how the filer works, right? So let me delete. Okay, let's just leave it right there because we have to explore some options. So I'm gonna explain some of the options because there are too many options. If I'm going to explain each of them, then this video will going to be an hour long. So I'm not gonna do that. So there is a close on select thing, right? So this is enabled by default, and close on select means if you select a file, like the most basic thing you do with a file explorer. Oops, there was the snack speaker. Filer in kind equals to float, right? So if I press enter on this init.lua, you can see this file is open. I can write anything like hello, str is equals to hello, like that. So this is the init.lua file, which I opened with the fyler.nvim, right? So what happens when I press enter on a file, that file instantly open and the filer window closed automatically. So this is to close the fyler.nvim whenever you select a file or open a file, right? Okay, so there is a confirm simple option as well. This option allows you to skip confirmation on some simple edit operations. So let me show you what does that mean. So let me open the plugin configuration, and in this plugin configuration, you can do like confirm confirm simple is equals to true. Let me reopen it. Not the snack speakers, float, right? So if I make a new file like new file.lua and press, if I save it, you can see there's no confirmation because this is a simple edit. And what is the criteria for operation to be a simple operation is you can at max create 5 files. Also, there should not be a delete operation in the sequence of operation, and there only one copy and one move operation allow to be a simple operation. So if I delete this line and save this buffer, you can see delete operation. If we have a single operation, single delete operation, this will ask you for the confirmation. But if you have like A, B, C, C, D, E, right? So this is 5 files, and if I save it, you can see those 5 files are created, and let's delete them. So there is no confirmation on simple edits, and it's pretty handy, right? So there you go. What's the next thing? Okay, next thing is the default Explorer option, which allows you to hijack most of the netrw commands. So let me show you what I mean. So if I open the filer like dot, you can see this is the old um, built-in Explorer for neovim called netrw, right? But we want to hijack this nature. So let's go here and default Explorer equals to true. So let me make this default file explorer. And if I open this current directory with neovim this time, you can see this time it opens with the fyler.nvim instead of netrw. It's pretty cool, right? So what's next? So there's some git status, like you can see some git status things. This is just to enable the git status. By default they are enabled, and here you can modify some icons related to git symbols like untrack, added, modified, etc. There are some hooks which you may never use, but there is one hook which is pretty good. By the way, you can change some color highlight groups by this hook, and this is the function signature that you can use to change the highlight groups that Filer uses. There are plenty of highlight groups. Basically, it is to change the Filer colors, right? I'm not gonna go in detail with these hooks because these are not the things that you um, use oftenly, right? This is interesting. This is the directory icons on various directory states. Like if a directory is closed, I mean collapsed, empty, and expanded. So you can pass an icon as a string, and those different directory stage, I mean, filer will show different icon, different directory icon on the different states of directory. Like if the directory is open, then filer show a different symbol that you mention here, and if the directory is closed or expanded, everything is mentioned here. Let me show you a little quick demo. Let me just switch on to the wait just a minute. So this is my development setup. I'm gonna do it. Let's install with the lazy. So you can see if I press enter on this empty dir, I have set up the when the directory is open, I will show this icon instead of a filled icon, right? It's pretty handy to know if the directory is open or not, right? So this is the icon provider that I said. We have three options like none if you don't want any icons, mini icons, and nvim dev icons. By the way, this icon provider also accepts a function as well, which you can pass to the icon provider and you can generate your own icons, right? Nothing fancy. This is the indentation scope. Indentation scope, just the indentation guide or markers. You can see there's a simple line here. Let me open a much bigger directory like the original fyler.nvim directory, and you can see there are some indentation guides. These are the indentation markers that I'm talking about. So there are some key mappings. Let's talk each of everyone. You know that pressing Q closes the window. If you press enter, then it will um, open the current file, or if it is a directory, it will expand the directory. That's all. Then there's a select tab thing, which is using the control T. So if I open the filer like this, if I open the filer and press control T, you can see this file is open in a new tab instead of the current buffer. Now we have these split. By the way, these are pretty self-explanatory, right? So this is interesting. This is how you go to the parent directory. This is how you go to the parent directory. So let me open the filer, and if I press a caret symbol, then you can see I can go I can move to the parent directory by just pressing the caret symbol. If I press this again, you can see I can move to the parent just by pressing the caret symbol. And here is a equal symbol, which moves your current context to the current working directory. So if I press equal symbol, you can see I simply jump onto the current working directory. By the way, you can press dot or period to focus on a particular directory. Like if I press period here, you can see I'm inside the empty dir folder. And if I press equal, I came back. So this is just to collapse the old nodes. Like if I open this directory, right? And let's say I'm here somewhere. And if I press hashtag, this will close every directory. Let me show you here. So this is much bigger directory. So if I press hashtag, it will close all the nodes in the tree, right? And there is another case of this collapsing nodes thing. So if I expand some directories, so let's say my cursor is on the init.lua, and if I press backspace, it will only close to the closest parent. So now you can see, so it will close the parent of the current targeted node. So here you can see my cursor is on health, and the parent of health is the filer folder, which you can see here. This is the parent of this health. So if I press backspace, this filer folder gets closed. And if I press backspace again, this Lua folder gets automatically closed. There are some pop-up configuration. You can change some width, height, and some positioning parameters as well. There are some border configuration as well. This is the auto buffer tracking. By default, it is true. You can also close this thing. Like let's say if I am in the integration for icons file, and if I open the filer, you can see filer automatically focus my cursor on the particular file that I'm currently working on. It's pretty handy when you are dealing with a large code base and you have to I mean, you want to jump on the specified file or the file that you are currently working on. So it's pretty handy to when working with the bigger code bases. And there are some things like you can style the Explorer window, right? So this is the Explorer window. By the way, these are the things for pop-ups like confirmation box. But this is for the main Explorer window. There are some, you can set some buffer options, you can set some window options, and these are some kind presets. Kind presets are the configuration related to each window kind. That means you can create your own window preset. Like, let me show you. If I go to the configuration, let me just show you quickly um, where it is. Okay, when is equals to kind preset, and in kind preset, my preset, right? So we have a my preset, and in my preset, we have width of let's say we have a width of 20 absolute units. Absolute means you have width of the, I mean, unit means in neovim, width is measured in columns and height is measured in rows. So 20 abs means 20 columns for width, and 20 abs for height means 20 rows, right? So let me have the 20 width for what to say this thing. It is so it is a width for and let's say height is equals to 20 abs as well, right? So 20 abs. And by the way, there is one more important thing. When you name your preset, you have to prefix it with either um, replace, 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 or you have to do it with a split, or you have to do it with a float, like float, right? So I'm gonna use float because I want this preset to be a floating window. So let's see how this thing works, right? When is a duplicate? Okay, so let me, sorry, let me just copy this thing here, right? Because this option is belongs to this win table. So let me open and close, I mean, close and open the new vim. And if I do fyler and do kind, you can see there must be another float thing here. Or maybe not. Float my preset. After the second argument, the table got nil. Uh, am I too crazy? Or did I miss something? Maybe just top ABS and the left ABS for 0, 0. Compiler kind equals to the float my preset. Interesting. I thought you can create your own presets. But anyways, it doesn't matter. But you can change existing presets like split leftmost. So this is the split leftmost. This is the built-in window kind, by the way. And I just change this, change the width, let's say 50 abs. So if I open Filer with a kind of split leftmost, you can see this is the 50, what to say, it's 50 columns in there. So if I want to increase this thing, like with 100 abs, you can see something is wrong. I think Okay, I got it. I literally named this key kind preset instead of kind presets. So if I close and reopen neovim, and you can see now the width is 100 abs, right? And if I make the previous thing like this and correct this term, and you can see this is float my preset, and if I press enter on this, here's my custom floating window, right? This is so cool. You can define your own custom presets, just prefix them with replace, float, or split, right? So these are the all option. By the way, this is a telescope extension as well. We already implement a telescope extension. It's a pretty basic telescope extension with Z oxide. And let me show you. If you open a telescope telescope configuration, you can see here um, here like let's add a configuration function, right? So we have a configuration function which takes some options and require telescope dot setup with this options, right? And according to the documentation, we have to set up this fyler oxide. So we just have to load this extension. Because I don't want to set any configuration to this, I want the default options of a picker. Nothing in the register. Let me copy something. Okay, there it is. And let's change that to require telescope, and here it is. Perfect. So let me reopen this. Okay, so if I do telescope and if I search for fyler Z oxide, you can see here is an entry of fyler Z oxide. And if I press enter on it, you can see I have all the Z oxide entries that I used, right? So if I search, let's say my project, let's say assistant nvim. So this is one also a plugin that I created. And if I press enter, you can see this directory immediately open with the fyler.nvim. So this is really helpful when you want to quickly jump onto your another project with the fuzzy finding like telescope, right? So it's pretty handy. You can make a keybind for it actually. And by the way, you can get a detailed explanation of each of the options in the configuration, like in the wiki page. You can explore everything that you need. You can just explore everything that this plugin contains, right? Okay, so am I missing something? Okay, nothing. So that's it for this plugin. By far, I'm getting a huge support from you guys. The community really loves this plugin, and I'm happy to work hard on this project because I get so much motivation from you guys. Because I mean, look at this, around 400 plus stars on this GitHub repository. This is so much love, and this is enough for me to continue making this plugin better and better day by day. And there are also some lovely contributors who doing so hard to making this plugin uh, the best it can be, right? So this is how I can describe. And by the way, I'm sorry for my English. This is not my first language. I try my best to explain everything, but this is what this is what I present. This is my best, right? So if you have any problem with this plugin, you can just simply raise issues, or if you want a feature request, you can also mention it here. Or by the way, the last thing, if you have any question, you can just ask the question here in the discussion page. That's all from my side. Thank you guys. That's all for the fyler.nvim. If you have any problem, just raise the issue. So we will meet you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.